But I think we figured it out.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. We know what's going on here.
Yeah.
It doesn't really
So
matter
good.
who's lying, who's gone crazy, who cares? This is Prometheus. Welcome to Popcorn Moms, the podcast for parents who love their kids most but loved movies first. We're your co-hosts Netta
And Steph, two movie lovers turned moms. Join us as we reconnect with the things that make us whole outside of parenthood, namely watching movies about unhinged wikis. There's a lot of movie watching about unhinged people these days.
Movies are all about unhinged
People,
okay. Apparently.
Okay, so The Lighthouse, if people didn't know what wikis were, which I did not. So The Lighthouse is a 2019 film directed by Robert Eggers that is maybe best described as a psychological horror magical realism, but who knows, that is accurate. After watching it, it stars Willem, Dafoe, and Robert Pattinson as lighthouse keepers stranded by a violent storm at a remote New England outpost in 1890. That is good to read because the entire movie, I'm like, what year is this? It was driving me nuts. I did peg it somewhere between like 1870 and 1910. So that's good.
Spot on.
Yeah. Okay, so this was Netta's pick. So why did you choose this movie?
Well, I think this was the mood. I wanted something darker. We'd watched, we had like a run of rom-coms and then a short run of like 90s girl,
teen fun,
boppy, whatever.
Mhm.
And that was just not the mood anymore. I would say, not for any particular reason, not for any bad reason, but I just wanted something a bit darker. I'd never seen this before. I've wanted to see it for a while, and it just what came to mind.
Very nice.
That's the only reason. Yeah. Had you seen this before?
I had not seen this before, and similarly, it's one that was always on my to watch list, but I don't know, the mood, I guess, never struck, or when it did, it was like, oh, let's watch this instead, or like, you know how you kind of forget sometimes about movies that you want to see. I do think this is the polar opposite of the movies we had been watching in pretty much every way.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we struck that one good. And so, did you like it?
I did.
You did?
Yes.
You tell. That is like a very fervent yes.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I loved it. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot to talk about there.
Oh,
But,
so much.
yeah, I felt like it was a lot.
There's a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there. There's like a lot of acting. It's like a lot of acting.
There's a lot of acting.
And it's like a lot of cinematography, and it's a lot of symbolism, and it's a lot of this and a lot of that.
Symbolism was unbelievable.
Yeah, I need to ask you because you've been into Greek myth, and I feel like there's some Greek myth stuff happening here.
There's a lot happening there. Yes.
So it's a lot, but it feels like pretty deliberate choices.
Agreed.
What did you think?
What it comes down to for me, how I feel about this cinema film.
Cinema.
This is cinema. Is that this movie, to me, is not to be enjoyed or disliked. It is a piece of art that we are to study and dissect. I feel like this movie is going to be torn apart, put back together, and monologued to death in film schools the world over. For years. Yeah. Like acting 101, everyone is going to be trying to be Willem Dafoe. Acting teachers are just going to get old. Like, they're going to get sick of it, man. Like that. Like, every time he stood up and the camera was on him and there was this epic monologue to follow, I was like, here we go again. I don't know. There was something to me. I don't know. About halfway through the movie, I just wrote a note down. Like, this movie to me is like art. I don't really think it's supposed to entertain. It was like very cerebral. The choices were insanely deliberate in a way that I think we could talk for hours and hours and hours and then still not even scratch the surface because there's so much going on here. It just was so atypical. This was a very atypical film. It was
Yes.
like watching, I don't know, sorry, it was like watching, like, yeah, like an audition monologue for 2 hours. It was insane. I kept waiting for some sort of, like, explanation or, like, reveal, which would be, like, very typical Hollywood movie, and it didn't do that, which is good, I guess, but I wanted some sort of, like, oh, like, I started thinking, like, is he actually Willem Dafoe's character? And he's, like, visualizing himself as a younger man? Is he going crazy and his 2 personalities and one of them doesn't exist? Or, like, did Willem Dafoe, like, they talk about the prior Lighthouse assistant, and he says, like, well, he went nuts. I was like, well, was he the one that went nuts and he killed the guy who didn't go nuts? And then now Robert Pattinson's stuck here with the guy who's nuts. I don't know. And I think I was just waiting for like a typical Hollywood reason or explanation, and it didn't come. And that doesn't mean it was bad. Does not mean it was bad. But I think I just, without something like kind of solid to kind of hold on to, I feel like it did drag a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair. It's kind of like you were looking for psychological explanation
Yeah.
of what was going on that would make sense of the narrative.
Yeah. And because, you know what? Maybe this is a crazy thing to say, but the movie opens and we learn that they will be there for 1 month's time together. And I'm like, that doesn't seem long enough for them to go nuts. And so it's like, well, something's got to happen. And then we see something that happens. The storm keeps them there for longer than intended. This is such a naive thing to say, but I still don't understand why they went so crazy. Like, I get like boredom and this and that, but like, how long were they there for? Were they not drinking water? Also, is the question. They were just drinking like gas. I don't know. This is very critical of me, but I feel like I needed a bit of I needed that like explanation of some kind or something to connect it all as to why things were deteriorating so dramatically way sooner than you'd think that they would.
Okay, let's think
Am
about
I?
this.
Yeah.
So, I think partly what's going on is that the movie is relying on an assumption or a kind of shared cultural narrative, whatever, that being isolated in a lighthouse might make a person crazy. I realize that's very specific, but I just mean that there's maybe something that the audience brings to it that, like, we're kind of willing to go along with this
Mm,
idea that this type of isolation would make people kind of go a bit mad. I think you also see the kind of pressure that they put each other under, or
yeah.
certainly that Willem Dafoe puts on Robert Pattinson. So you see his like Robert Pattinson doing all of this really kind of hard manual
Mhm.
labor, being called a dog, being subordinate to
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe and being put in his place, um, being kept from the
The
light,
light.
which
I know. William
we have to
Dafoe
talk about.
tends to the light.
Oh, yes. And they're on this island, which is already full of superstition, things feeling like they aren't quite in line with the laws of nature. It's a place that already kind of challenges rational thinking.
Mhm.
And then you find out that Robert Pattinson already has his demons that he's bringing and his kind of secret past and
Mhm.
the things that haunt him. The other thing that you see is that, like, throughout the first 4 weeks, Robert Pattinson, I think, does things to keep his sanity in place, right? He
Yes.
kind of keeps by certain rules. He
Yes. No
doesn't drink,
drinking. Mhm.
that's kind of the main thing. He doesn't kill the seabird. And
Yes.
then on the very last day, he does. And after that, everything kind of falls apart. So I think
Mhm.
that you kind of get a sense that that madness was there
Yeah.
and he managed to kind of just keep it away. And then at the very last minute, he kind of failed and killed the seabird, and then everything else fell apart that kind of kept that madness on the outside.
So that was his situation. And I think if you isolate the story to him, you can really see that. How like things are getting a little wacky, but he's managing to keep things like copacetic. And then the day they're supposed to leave and they don't, he kind of loses it and everything goes downhill. And maybe that's, yeah, that, great. How does Willem Dafoe's character factor into this? like he's kind of an oddball. And so I don't know. It's this question I'm asking, like, how much was him versus how much was Robert Pattinson's character like projecting on him? Like, are we seeing this through Robert Pattinson's eyes? And William Dafoe is actually like very normal, and like when they get like stranded, he's like, we got a ration, it's fine, like, and he's being super normal. But then we also see him doing some very bizarre things, very bizarre. So is that him being bizarre? Is that the island making them? I don't know. I'm having trouble reconciling.
I wonder if this is a kind of movie that you could create different narratives out of, right?
Yeah.
But I think maybe the thing that feels uncertain is when you kind of haven't decided. As a viewer, it's like, okay, we haven't really decided what the story is at the moment, you and I. But, we could make sense of it in any number of ways. I don't know. Can we talk about the light slash mythology? I
Yes.
think.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the light of this lighthouse, or the part of the lighthouse right at the top that has light, there's this whole thing where at the beginning, Robert Pattinson comes in expecting that he and Willem Dafoe are going to alternate actually tending to the light overnight. And Willem Dafoe says, no, you cannot, you're never going to be doing that. The light is only for me to tend to. At the end, Robert Pattinson kills Willem Dafoe and finally goes up to the light. It's something he's kind of obsessed with. And he goes up to the light, and it looks very kind of sci-fi-ish, the way they shoot it.
Yeah.
And there's these kind of doors that are part of the light that open up on their own, seemingly. Robert Pattinson puts his hand in, and he has this kind of like ecstatic but painful experience of like, and that's kind of the apex of this. And I was like, what is this? Because it feels like a type of story I have seen before, but I don't know what. And I was racking my head, went to like tvtropes.com to try
Really?
and figure it out or something. Yeah, because I was like, what is this? And I think the closest I could think of is like there are these stories about some kind of technology that is both ancient but also totally like futuristic, and there is like the hero eventually goes to this and has a kind of ecstatic experience with this technology. But honestly, the thing that came to mind was Lara Croft Tomb Raider, the movie. This is the thing to me that feels disorienting about this movie, which is like it just feels like it's so close yet so far from things that I know. Like I know this from somewhere.
You
But from
do.
where? What is this?
It's Prometheus.
Is it Prometheus? Is that the one
Yes.
with the liver, a crow or whatever bird
Yes.
pecking out his liver? Okay,
Yes.
please tell me. Tell me what this is. Because I came up with Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
By the way, I love that movie. I watch it all the time. It's so good.
Yeah.
Very fun. Okay, so the things that I really enjoyed about this movie was, like I said, a lot. I think there's a lot of symbolism here and a lot of things going on. And I can only identify the things that I'm aware of, but I think there's a lot more that I'm not aware of. So this is why I also think this movie would be such an interesting, like, case study or like a character study for like a whole semester.
Write so many essays about this movie.
Right? I would love to. Love to. Anyways, so the first thing, we'll start from the top. The first thing I found very interesting that stood out to me, leaning towards this kind of like Greek mythology thing, was when he kind of opens his bed mattress up. Robert Pattinson arrives at the lighthouse. He goes to his room and he's sitting on the bed and he notices there's like tufts in the mattress, and he digs through and there's like a little sculpture of like a mermaid, what appears to be a mermaid.
Like a totem.
Yeah, like a totem. And we immediately, I think, about the sirens.
Yes.
And how that's what's going to slowly kind of like haunt him. And that's what's going to slowly like have him lose it. We get hints of that, but not as much as I maybe like wanted, maybe in the paranormal haunting or horror-esque category. And then William Dafoe does say like the prior guy got very obsessed with like mermaids and stuff like that, and it drove him nuts. And so we see that this totem comes to be very important to Robert Pattinson throughout. Very intimate. This is his only thing. But then we do see him having visions of like mermaids and sirens that are both beautiful and terrifying, which is very fun. But where the movie goes in the end with the light. By the way, another thing I was like, can one of these guys just die or both of them die? And also, I need to know what's in this lighthouse. It was also haunting me as it did Robert Pattinson. And so, anyways, he goes up and he sees the lights and he has this experience with it. And then the next scene, he is lying naked on the rocks and the eagles are pecking out his organs. Earlier in one of Willem Dafoe's kind of monologues, when he's very angry at Robert Pattinson, he does say, I will not quote it in any way, but he does say, like, I hope that you end up like Prometheus. Like, he does say it. Like with your curiosity and your this or that. Like he gives some sort of like diatribe about like Robert Pattinson, stay out of it. Like you're curious and that is not okay. Like in this situation, it'll be your downfall. Like it's of that vein. Anyway, so he goes, the light, and he's there lying on the rocks. That's when it all really, really clicks, I think, for the audience, that this is kind of all a metaphor for this idea. I am rusty, but Prometheus, son of Zeus, stole fire from the gods and brought it to mankind as kind of like a technological like advancement to like help them grow. And then his punishment was to be like pinned down and have like crows or birds or some kind peck out his liver every day. And it would grow back and then they would do it again. So this idea, I think like the myth in general speaks to this idea of like curiosity and like pushing boundaries and like technological advancement and stuff not being okay, and then punishment resulting from that curiosity. But the idea that he becomes so obsessed, the light is kind of a metaphor for like that fire and that like movement forward. He wants to have movement forward. He wants to trade off tending the light. He is that next generation coming in to tend the light. And William Dafoe is like, absolutely not. This is mine. It is for me. And then they clash. Robert Pattinson gets curious, goes nuts, goes up, finds it. There's nothing obviously to take, but he's very enthralled with it and has that experience of it. So he's obviously crossing the boundaries of some way. And then we see him being punished.
Okay. I feel like
this is what I took from the film.
This actually explains a lot.
Okay.
This explains a lot. Thank you,
You're welcome.
Thank you, Stephanie. This is very helpful. Yeah, okay. All right. Now I feel like I've got like a peg it can kind of like hang this story on.
Yeah.
And help make sense of. Okay. Let me add an observation.
Please.
And see if it, helps build this thing up. Maybe it'll just be a tangent or a distraction. But let's see. So I was struck by fairly early on in the movie, there's a scene where Robert Pattinson, he's doing this manual labor. He is down at the very bottom of the lighthouse, oiling some of the machines or some of the mechanisms. And the shot just goes from the bottom where he is all the way up to the top of the lighthouse where Willem Dafoe is. And along the way, what you see is really like the mechanics of the lighthouse and how it functions and like the chains and the, I don't even know what. But it gets to the top of the lighthouse. You see Willem Dafoe, and the way that it pans up and lands on Willem Dafoe, it almost feels like Willem Dafoe is part of the lighthouse itself and is part of the mechanism.
Oh.
Okay. We're getting some, we're cooking.
Interesting.
And so I wonder if there's a story here of, Robert Pattinson, this like lowly human, fragile, weak, prone to anger, very kind of like base instincts where he lets a man dies just because, not just because. He lets a man die and doesn't help him because he was subjugated by this guy and demeaned by this man. This is sort of in his previous job with the lumber stuff, but this is kind of the backstory that he brings to it. And he's doing all of this like very taxing, very hard physical labor. He's called a dog. And he's kind of like, he's the human of the story.
Yes.
You have Willem Dafoe, who is kind of part of the mythology of the place and who carries the mythology and who spins all of these tall tales and who seems to be lying about his own backstory and making it up as he goes. and who is kind of like part of this structure and part of this technology, and that is this light. Like Robert Pattinson wants this light, wants this technology, wants this fire.
Mm-hmm.
And what he's, this is what it takes to get it, is to, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going from here.
I do.
Okay, yes, please take over.
Because, okay, so during that scene, I forgot to mention this when I was, so during that scene, I didn't really notice what Willem Dafoe's character was doing because I was so focused on Robert Pattinson trying to remember who had to roll the boulder up the hill continuously in Greek mythology. Sisyphus. So Sisyphus was condemned to roll this boulder up this hill continuously. This is exactly what I thought of when I watched Robert Pattinson have to push this up this insane lighthouse. And it gets to the top, and Willem Dafoe's character, the Zeus of all of this, is like, fill this up and take it back. Like, get it out of here. Like complete kind of indifference to all of this hard work. And like that whole story is about like repetitive, absurd, like do it again, which is William Dafoe's thing around like scrub the floor again, like do it again, like resilience, pushing forward. And I think then we see like Robert Pattinson's kind of like desire to like continue and like do well and all of that. But that's what I thought about it. I think this is what I mean. Like, I think there's a lot happening here and I just don't know enough. Cause like we've talked about sirens, we have this, we have Prometheus. Like there's a lot going on here that really lends itself to the idea that Willem Dafoe is kind of like this Zeus, Olympus god type guy.
I'm sorry, just like Willem Dafoe as Zeus, as this like very crazy man.
Well, all I was thinking in the movie is he has the beard for it.
Mm-hmm. So true.
This beard is working for him.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I actually think this is very much just like the story of Prometheus.
I think so too.
I think this is just Prometheus. I think that's what's going on here. Where yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have like these other elements from other myths, so like the sirens, which is kind of enhances that part of the Promethean story, which is about like the call of something dangerous and the call of something alluring, which in the kind of literal Robert Pattinson, like in the literal story of the lighthouse, is like the light of the lighthouse, and in the Promethean story is, I guess, fire. And then you have also, I think, like maybe some reference to the myth of Icarus and like flying too close to the sun a little bit, and that kind of enhances the same thing, but maybe puts more of an emphasis on some of the negative consequences of doing so.
I know, I was leaning there, and then the end really was like, oh, this is very obviously a nod to Prometheus.
Prometheus, yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I think we figured it out.
Nailed it.
We know what's going on here.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter who's lying, who's gone crazy, who cares? This is Prometheus.
It's Prometheus. There's some really good kind of mythological undertones here that we love. Very fun. Yeah. One thing I loved was the unsettling horn noise in the background that was there for a lot of the movie.
The foghorn?
I loved this foghorn noise. I found it unsettling. I wanted more of that, like something is afoot here. And like that noise was very creepy. So I really liked that.
Yeah, I felt like a lot of the score kind of seemed to incorporate the sounds.
Yeah.
Where I wasn't always sure, is this the score or is this the sound of the foghorn? Is this the sound of the mechanics of the lighthouse?
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yes. I didn't know, like, is that supposed to be happening in the distance or not? And then it happened so much. I was like, no, I think this is just like the score that they've chosen. And I really like it. It did add to the like unsettling nature of the circumstance.
Yeah.
I guess you could say.
Yeah. Totally.
Did
you... Yes. How did you feel about it being in black and white?
Ooh, yes. I was going to say, I loved that it was in black and white. I think it being in color, I personally am not saying this is a 10 out of 10 movie. I'm just saying if someone were to say like, oh, this is a 10 out of 10 movie, I feel like if you made it in color, it instantly would drop to like a 6. For some reason. Yeah. I think it being in black and white was a very deliberate stylistic choice. That was an incredible choice. I don't know why. I think it got rid of the idea of like some of the things maybe looking cartoony. I think it made it look kind of like old-timey. Like Sean said, it reminded him a lot. There was like some stills, like the still of Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe standing about to approach the lighthouse, that it reminded him of like silent era movies. Like they're black and white, but they're really crisp. And it was also like it was like the aspect ratio was like a square.
Yes. Yeah, I want to ask you about the aspect
Yeah.
ratio too.
So
What
I
you
feel
thought?
like these choices were so good. I think it like absorbed me into that time, and then you layer in like the dialogue and everything, and that's why I was so obsessed with like what year is this? Like it's like like this maybe, and that's why I'm like this was very like artful, because I feel like there was these choices that I think go beyond a lot of regular like movies and to really create a feel.
Yeah, I
What do you
think
think?
I think the black and white. Okay. I think what this movie did was make it clear that black and white is really like you're talking about light and darkness,
Ooh.
right? And so
Huh.
this movie being
Oh,
so much about
wow.
light, this movie being so much about light and the darkness of the mind, I think really brought that out. I think it also managed to make such amazing use then of the lighthouse,
Yeah.
and the contrast and like the grayscale and everything was just so beautifully
Mhm.
done.
I know. It was
But it
really well
worked really
done.
well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the aspect ratio and the fact that it's like almost square, it's not
Mhm.
quite square,
No.
but it's almost square. I remember seeing another movie, I don't know, maybe like 10, 15 years ago, that was also like the same aspect ratio. And I must have heard like an interview with the director or maybe somebody making a commentary that the aspect ratio was done to make it feel boxed in.
Yeah.
And so I think it definitely had that effect for
Very
sure.
much so.
But then also I had a similar thought as I think you said what Sean said, that it feels like a photograph from that era,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? And even the way the camera work was done where each of the shots feels very anchored. So there is movement, but for the most part, I think the camera either doesn't move or when it does,
Yeah.
it's like it feels like it's on a track. It
Mhm.
almost feels like just like a still photography camera that's kind of moving along as opposed to, a camera that's really adding a lot of sense of movement or is doing some like interesting
Yeah.
moves or you have a lot of quick cuts. Instead, I think it is meant to feel more photographic.
And it's interesting you say that, because I think you just filled in a gap for me. Like I was thinking, we've watched some movies and it's like, oh, this is like a play, or this would make a great play. This movie, I was feeling like that, but I actually don't think it would make a good play because of like the set and the movement that they do use is very important. But it felt like that to me. And I think it's because of this idea of like very like stagnant shots where it's like the still like you would get in a play, but I don't want it to be a play because I think the environment that they move around in and up and down the line, like it's all very important in the storm and like all that good stuff. What's interesting though, you said like the aspect ratio makes you feel waxed in. Maybe a bit ago in the conversation, I was when we were talking about things we like, dislike, or whatever, I was thinking about how it made me feel at times very claustrophobic. Just the one setting, the one room, the aspect ratio. And I like that in itself was unsettling. Like you feel very trapped. But that I think is like brilliant how they make you feel that way because that's the movie. Like to suck you in that much. I think they use all these tricks really well.
It adds a lot. It feels necessary to
Yeah.
achieve what they've achieved.
Yeah.
It's
100%.
beautiful. It's beautiful. And it works like on that symbolic level. It works on the technical level. It works on just on every level. I think it's just beautiful. And it's like it
So
just
smart.
contributes so much. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we talked a lot about stylized movies and colors and this and directors or whoever playing with like saturation and stuff. And like I love that. And sometimes it's done very tastefully and sometimes it's like, well, that didn't need to happen. But and like other times it adds. This time I feel like I cannot even imagine it not being in black and white. Like we said, like it's just so necessary. And I think adds the idea that this is some sort of otherworldly piece of art or something. Probably because, like, there's so many stills. Like, I feel like I can, like, snapshot so many kind of still shots.
Yeah.
You know? A very good choice. It also maybe do you think there's something there around, like, timelessness too?
Say more.
I feel like the coloring of movies and how it appears on screen and stuff like that, like, you can date movies based on that, and I'm wondering that if this movie being in black and white will make it kind of timeless as it stands up to other movies as kind of this idea of, like, a study in film and acting and, like, the word I wanna say is accessible. I feel like it being in black and white also makes it accessible for people to then take scenes and monologue them out in auditions. I don't know. I don't think there's just something more workable there, maybe, that people can latch onto and fill in the colors for themselves and focus on the words. I don't know. There's something there.
There is. I wonder if doing it in black and white makes it more accessible in a way or more workable. Does the use of mythology in the movie do something similar where it's kind of like something timeless, something classic, something that's going to last? And like in 50 years, probably these myths are still going to be
Yeah.
with us. And so this movie can kind of stay accessible in a way, even if it
Ooh.
doesn't feel like, even if it being in black and white makes it quite different, makes it feel, maybe in the moment, makes it feel less accessible and more arty and more
Mhm.
art house and more whatever. But in the long term, it means that it has that kind of lasting power that, like,
Yes.
over time, it can be accessed again and again.
Yeah, you make a great, brilliant point that also the content or like the ground of the story itself is quite a timeless classic tale that would still be around, still be accessible. I was also interested too because you mentioned 1890 again. I also think it being set specifically in that year adds to this idea because I kept thinking like, is this what this was like? Like in like I didn't know the year, but like in ye olden lighthouse times? Like I don't know. Nobody knows. Who was around in 1890? No one
I
who's
mean,
alive today.
I think there's like better records of 1890 than there are of like, it wasn't that long ago.
It seemed I'll say I know you are right. But I think to a casual viewer, it
Yeah.
seems very of another time.
Yeah.
Like even the way they talk. Like I picked up on that very quick. Like I think at one point Willem Dafoe was like, I didn't fancy you for a reading man. Like so okay, I was writing down all the clues I could about like so this is not a time of which everyone can read. Okay, like I think it just makes it feel more out there and then though maybe it seems contradictory, but in a way makes it feel timeless.
Yeah. How about this? In 50 years, this movie could be as relevant as it is
Yeah.
when it was made. And
Yes.
that could mean that it's not very relevant in 50 years. Just like, in 2019 when it came out or today, it could feel arty and removed
Yeah.
and like, WTF is this? And when is
Yeah,
this?
like
And all this
too
kind of
cerebral,
stuff.
too
But it's not going to age in the
Yeah.
same way that other movies are. And it being in black and white is part of that.
Yes. Well said.
You said it, girl. Anyways,
Yeah.
great.
Anyways.
So, The Lighthouse.
Yes. I just feel like it's like in a museum and we have just viewed it, discussed it, and we are now walking on.
Yeah.
That's how I feel
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
An art piece indeed.
An art piece. Okay. I feel like the substance was an art piece in the sense that, like, it did feel like it belonged in some, like, white-walled modern art gallery in a way
Mhm.
that this did not. The Lighthouse felt like an experience, not just, like, something to observe
But you also
coldly.
experience art.
Yes. I guess what I'm imagining, though, I guess, like, in my mind, yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
No, we have walked into the museum, we have
Mhm.
seen it, we've experienced it, we've absorbed it, we've
So true.
discussed it,
So
debated
true.
it, we have let it wash over us
Yes.
like a what are those called? Like an installation?
Yeah.
Like the like
An
human
immersive, an
installation. Yeah, like an
immersive.
immersive moment.
Okay, how about
And we
this?
are now emerging
Yeah,
the other side.
love that. Like the substance belongs in like a contemporary art gallery where just like white
Yes.
walls, you just stand and look and think and move on to the next one, stand and look and think. Whereas this one feels like you're saying, like a museum where like the walls are that like rich red color, and it's just
Yes.
like full of like beautiful pieces with like heavy frames and whatever. Like this is
Yes.
the yeah,
And there's
classic.
no
Yeah.
yes, and I feel like you walk through it and then you discuss it and everyone around the table has a different opinion because it's just that's what it's meant to do. It's meant to be discussed and debated and monologued for years to come.
Oh, the poor acting students who would have to try and get the accent right.
Good luck to them.
Oh dear. Anyway,
Okay.
yeah. So,
What do you feel like?
what is next?
What is next is the
I
question.
I feel like I could go I was going to say any which way. I don't think that's quite right. I don't want to go back to the light and fluffy.
I feel the desire to stay somewhere like dark, but Robert Eggers has a couple other films.
Thanks for joining us here at Popcorn Moms. If you like what you heard, we'd really appreciate your support. Subscribe to the show, rate and review us, and most importantly, share it with someone you know. Thanks for listening.